Yeah, I had a query recently from a parent. So her son is in year 10 and is refusing to go to school. But the school is not working with her. They're just sending her reminder letters and saying, if you don't bring him in, this is what's going to happen next. But she's got younger children that she has to take to primary school, so she's not quite sure what she should do.
Ooh, that's a big thing at the moment.
Yeah,
you're getting a lot of school. So for any parents out there who are listening, you're not alone.
Yeah, that's the first thing. And there must be quite a lot of places on the internet for advice and support.
Yeah. We actually run a parents WhatsApp group.
Oh wow!
There's a few members of staff who you know who kind of give their 2 pence.
That's good of them.
Throw them in.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help, but that attendance thing is a big thing. What can you do, because you're going to get taken to court eventually, aren't you?
Yeah, well, there's 2 or 3 things, isn't there? There's an expectation that the school should be leaning in, and I think the school has to be reminded of that in a way which will make them lean in more. And that's about trying to book an appointment and go in and kind of slowly develop an attendance plan for bringing them back in. And then there's a second thing, which is probably really difficult if it's just yourself, which is seeing if there's another way you can juggle childcare in the morning, if there's some sort of morning club that, early morning club that the children could go to, or whether there's some other, you could get permission to juggle it so that for the next week, my primary children are sadly going to be a little bit late, but they'll be with me whilst I drop off my secondary child. But I suspect the issue is more than that. The issue is about getting in there and leaning in and looking at the timetable and because as you fall more behind as a child, so you less want to return to the classroom. It's what we call cumulative disfluency. You just can't, if you've missed the first half of the unit on algebra, the second half is really, really full of dread, aren't you? And so on. If you've met the first half of the book, everybody's talking about themes you don't know about. I suppose the third thing is, which can work with some children, is to get a friend to try and look after them and take them in. And often, if your best friend is kind of collecting you on the way, if your best friend's there waiting for you, if your best friend is helping you the night before so you don't feel behind in that lesson, all those little things can sometimes help.
So can the school, what part can school play in that? Because children will do it quite organically, without much structure from the school. But can the school offer? I'm trying to think, because I'm thinking of a student now who their attendance has improved greatly because they feel a lot more comfortable because they're coming in with the friend. But if anything happens to this friend, you're now going to have two. Well, one won't be there and another poor attender. But the school really has no agency in that whatsoever.
So, unpopular opinion, I always think that something's always better than nothing, and not many people are fans of reduced timetables. But if it's problematic in the morning, get him in for the afternoon session, just as the temporary measure, because it's better for him to be there for the afternoon sessions and build it up to doing full days, rather than just sending out letters saying, oh, his attendance is at 21%. I think working with parents is always better than just reprimanding them, because we have to.
You're trying all your levers to get the young person in, but you have got to try and lean in and see what the need is. So why are you struggling to come into school? Do you need some counselling support? Is there some special needs that we've not got to the bottom of? And that's why getting that meeting with the senior member of staff in school to try to get underneath the surface of the cause of it is the most important thing, as well as all the tricks, of the parent taking them in if they can, their best friends looking after them, trying to get them to sign up for after school sport if they're into something where they might actually get into the squad and enjoy going after school. All of those things. But they're probably beyond a lot of those things if they're writing into you.
Yeah, as a parent. Yeah, especially in year 10 as well. It's critical.
Work experience, that's the other thing. Getting your child to go and spend some time. A few days at work, if at all possible, in a school holiday with somebody who's doing the sort of work they want to do, so that the purpose of school is there.
A lot of, I think, not to use this term, back in the day, that was quite easy.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I find, I speak to a lot of parents about this, a lot of places aren't willing to take children under 16.
That's it, yeah.
School work experience isn't compulsory anymore. And there's a real reluctance to take children unless you've got a mate, unless...
That's it. No, it's friends and family.
Yeah, Nepo babies. Yeah. Unless you're a Nepo baby, like my children, I'm saying that directly into the camera, where even my son who's gone into carpentry, the reason he went into carpentry is because most summers he spent with my uncle.
Oh, wow.
Who's a carpenter and been a carpenter for a very, 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 very long time. And that's how we developed that love.
Cool.
Same with my daughter. The reason she's gone into it is because she was given some work experience with some friends and family. But a lot of children don't get that connection.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. He studied carpentry because he did it. She studied this because she did it. That's how.
But there are organisations that do support schools. So Speakers for Schools is a good one. They do work experience. There's another one, Spring Pod, who does virtual work experience, which isn't ideal. But if you've got a school refuser and they've got a laptop, they can still at least engage. The King's Trust as well. I'm so proud that I remember to say the King's Trust and not the Prince's Trust.
It's changed now.
It's changed.
King's Trust, yeah.
Yeah, so there are, places that people can go to.
I'm thinking of one in Lambeth called Step Now. They do some amazing work. They did some work with a few schools, Looney Baylis being one of them, around
the barbering. I saw that on the news.
Yeah, they also do some amazing work over the summer. So you're right. You're gonna have to do a little bit of research.
Yeah.
But there are some amazing organisations in different London boroughs.
But nothing beats work experience. Because we're talking about two things, actually. One is career experience. This is the career that might interest you. So go and spend some time with your uncle who's a carpenter, for example. The other one is work experience, which is just go and spend a few days with a member, friend and family, going to work and seeing what it's like. You're going to have to get up at 7 a.m. You're going to have to put in a long shift at work. You'll get half an hour for lunch, however it is. Because, when you're 15, it's very close and you need to know that. And we had some really good success stories with young people who did things like that, often during the holidays that family had arranged. Yeah. And it included working, I can remember a child who worked on a market stall, another one who worked with some scaffolders, and obviously they didn't allow him up the ladders and so on. It doesn't always have to be career experience. Yeah. There's two things. And I think work experience has the wrong label. There's work experience and there's career experience.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of young people, and this is where I'm going to sound a bit old, because of the glitz and glamour of certain careers.
Of course, yeah.
So even like YouTubers and content creators, if you're in that world, it's relentless work. It's horrible. It seems easy because I've just got to take out, but once you get that viral clip, you now have to replicate that. You have to replicate that. You have to replicate that. Once you get deal partnerships or brand partnerships, no matter how you feel, your brand partnership may be, I've got to do 10 posts within a fixed amount of time and hit certain metrics. But the kids don't really see that. They just think, I've got a phone. They've got a phone. It's pretty easy.
I've got the tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas it really doesn't work like that. And I do have conversation with some of my social media friends saying that please be a bit more honest about how difficult it is. And some have started to be quite honest with, because our young people think all day long.
Yeah, I mean, at the top of every pyramid, you don't see all the people underneath who are struggling to make a living in every profession, actually. all the rest of it.